that is curved and that a animation path follows to create interest. In fact, most elements of movement in animation follow some sort of arc, whether it be a fairly subtle one or a very extreme one in this example. So in context, we have our monkey bouncing in on the screen, and we're following already several arcs of motion. So we have this bounce into a collision point, then another arc of motion into another collision point, and then another smaller arc of motion into our final resting point. Now, these are pretty obvious examples of arcs that the character is following in its animation, but beyond this, there are plenty of arcs that you might not even have considered, such as he sits up, we have the arc of motion of his body going forward until we have this collision point at the end where he stops dead. And then from there, we have another arc later on as he arches back in anticipation. So we have this initial arc of motion stopping here, and then another extreme arc of motion, but slightly more shallow, coming forward until he's looking straight forward. So these have all sort of followed arcs. Another few extreme examples of arc are where he flicks back here onto his arms, and then once again forward on a very extreme arc of motion into his standing position. But other more minor elements of arc can be applied in even things like walk cycles, where we have characters that are moving up and down, and though the character on the spot is sort of just moving up and down in itself, when in context, our character is moving in an arc into its next position, and this sort of continues as the motion continues along as well. Arcs give an animation a more natural feel and better flow. Think of natural movements in terms of a pendulum swing. Pretty much all arm movements and head turns and limb motions and whole body motions can be expressed in an interesting and effective way by using arcs as a baseline or guide for our motion. Thanks for watching through this tutorial, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.